Hey people, Zarthwomp here, and welcome to episode 13 of Danganronpa! Last time we started the class trial, and finished our investigation, of course. And in this episode we shall continue by having Monokuma answer the question that Byakuya asked about, do accomplices also get blackened? And let's continue.
Each murder is allowed to have an accomplice, but only the one who does the killing will get to graduate.
What is the accomplice?
So in other words, two people can work together, but one of them has no chance of profiting from it.
Then there's no way anyone would work together, right?
But what if they did work together, and they just didn't know about the rule?
Good grief! Enough already! No, okay? There are no accomplices in this case!
Oh, thank you for the tip, Monokuma.
Oops! Did I say that out loud?
Yes, you did.
Anyway, I didn't go to the dining hall, and I didn't take the knife, so I'm not the killer.
Okay, so then, who did take the knife?
Hina seems the obvious candidate. After all, she just said she was in the dining hall.
No way! I swear it wasn't me!
Sure, but can you or anyone else prove that? I can.
That's right! Sakura was with me the entire time I was drinking my tea.
I hate to have to ask, but just to be sure, Sakura's...
Me.
Right.
But then, couldn't either one of them have grabbed the knife?
Actually, no. Because, well...
Just spit it out already.
I stayed in Hina's room last night.
I got so scared thanks to those creepy videos. I wasn't really thinking, I just asked her to stay over. Which means, we have airtight alibis.
You stayed over? Doesn't that violate one of the school regulations?
No.
We're not allowed to sleep anywhere but the dorms, but it doesn't say we have to stay in our assigned room, so I don't think that's a problem.
It is a problem! A boy and a girl spending the night together? It's unwholesome!
Okay, Taka's gonna die! Taka is going to die big time! Come on, Sakura! Punch a hole right through his chest and rip out his heart!
I'm a girl.
You are? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry!
We'll make sure to put that on your epitaph, Taka.
But if it wasn't either of you, then what other possibility is there?
Actually, there is one other possibility. Right, Hina?
Oh, yeah, that's true! One other person did come to the dining hall while we were there.
Why didn't you say so in the first place?
Well, because they're not here anymore.
So, it's back to my theory of Sayaka.
Sayaka.
Yep.
She's the one who came to the dining hall. And then later, she wound up dead.
Sayaka? Okay, the person who took the knife from the kitchen was... Monokuma!
I got it!
I thought it was really Monokuma.
Sayaka is the one who took the knife?
That's the only possibility. And thinking back on it, she was acting kind of unusual. When she came into the dining hall, she didn't even look at us. She just went straight to the kitchen. As she left, she said she just wanted a drink of water. But most likely...
And the person who took the knife was the victim herself!
I'm sure she just took it for self-defense.
So you're saying the knife she took was then taken from her, and she was killed with it? In that case, you may not have taken the knife, but you still could have killed her.
What?
See?
Byakuya!
You did do it after all!
Friggin' now you're getting Togo on your side!
No, you're
Friggin'
wrong!
brought her up again.
So, that's how you would twist the argument and send us all off in the wrong direction? You possess a most terrifying talent.
Damn, if I was doing something, they're gonna blame me for the murder! Don't they understand? If they convict me, everyone's gonna die!
Hold on.
Except
It's still
Leon!
too early to decide conclusively that Makoto is the killer, wouldn't you say? Because you see, if the room did belong to the killer, then they did something most bewildering. And until we unravel that little mystery, you simply can't declare that he's the killer.
Bewildering? What the hell are you talking about?
Something was missing from the scene of the crime that by all rights should have been there. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Your first Hangman's Gambit is going to begin. Would you like to hear more? Absolutely. As things advance further in class trial, the Hangman's Gambit will eventually take place. The point of this is to reveal an important phrase related to the incident in question. You'll have to deduce the phrase from the letters flying around and the letters already know. Complete the phrase by shooting down the flying letters in the right order. Use the left stick to aim and press the Y button to shoot the desired letters. If you shoot down the wrong letters, you'll suffer damage to your influence gauge. If this gauge reaches 0, or if you run out of time, you fail. Well then, good luck and have fun! Tell me that should have been at the scene, but wasn't. That must be the crucial point. If we can just figure out what that something is... Okay, it's probably hair. Because that was the first point that Betty brought up. Okay, let's do this. 4-letter word. Yep, it's hair. Okay. We did it. Record time. Complete.
That's right! There wasn't a single hair on the floor!
So, the culprit removed some evidence?
Yes, and if I were the culprit, why would I need to get rid of all the hair in my own room? It wouldn't be unusual at all to find my hair at the crime scene if the crime scene is in my room.
The reason all the hair was gone was to remove any trace that Sayaka had ever been there. That makes sense, does it not?
No. If that were the case, they would have had to do something about the body itself, not just her hair.
Yes, very true, very true!
Okay, then why wasn't there any hair on the ground?
The killer got rid of it all, of course, to remove any trace that they had ever been there.
Wait, then that means...
Precisely. It's simply beyond reason to believe that the room's owner and the killer are one and the same.
Then, Makoto isn't the culprit?
Thank you, Chibi.
Are
Thank
you
you.
sure we can decide something so important based solely on the absence of some hair?
Damn it, Taka. I hate you.
No. There are other reasons that prove why Makoto couldn't have done it.
I would like to hear these reasons.
Do you remember anything remarkable about the bathroom at the scene?
They're gonna bring up the doorknob.
Sayaka was attacked in the main room first, then fled into the bathroom, right?
Yeah, then they ran after her, got into the bathroom, and stabbed her.
And how did the killer get into the bathroom? Did they have any trouble with it?
What do you mean?
It's fairly certain that the killer had some trouble getting into the bathroom. There was clear evidence left behind. Do you remember, Makoto?
The killer struggled getting in the bathroom, and the evidence that proves this is... Yeah, I think the killer broke. Doorknob, 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 doorknob. Ah, there it is, bathroom doorknob.
I got it! Evidence that the killer had trouble getting into the bathroom. You're talking about the doorknob, right?
Huh? The doorknob? What doorknob?
The thing you used to open the door?
The doorknob for my bathroom. It was completely broken. See how the top part was unscrewed? And the doorknob's about ready to fall off?
Oh yeah, true. But what does it mean?
In trying to bypass the lock, they ended up nearly removing the entire doorknob. This is another most bewildering act for the room's owner. It proves Makoto is beyond suspicion.
So what? You're saying he wouldn't break the door in his own room? But if the only choice you have is to break it, you break it. There's nothing bewildering about it.
Except the guys' rooms don't have locks on
You
the door.
still don't see? Okay then. Let's take another look at how the incident unfolded. Hopefully that will help you understand.
Absolutely, positively, lootly. From here on out, the number of weaknesses will start going up. But no matter how many weak spots, there's essentially only one minor contradiction in that debate. What I'm trying to say is, not all weak points you see are necessarily false. Use a truth boil on the wrong one, and not only will you fail to refute what they said, but you'll also lower your trust with everyone, and your influence with the gauge will take damage. Now, this is important because if your influence gauge reaches 0, you fail. You have to rely on your own logic to determine which weak spots are actually lies or contradictions. Well then, good luck and have fun! Make your argument. The bathroom door frame.
The incident took place in Makoto's room. Sayaka was first attacked in the main room. She then fled into the bathroom.
Then the killer ran after her. And they got into the bathroom.
At that point, the killer had to try and bust down the door. Because Sayaka had locked it.
Okay? Boom!
No, that's wrong.
We'll break you! Break you, Leon!
The reason my bathroom didn't open wasn't because it was locked. After all, the girls' rooms are the only ones with walking bathrooms, right?
Yes, now that you mention it, that is true.
Then why didn't your bathroom door open?
Because it was stuck.
Huh? What are you talking about?
My bathroom door doesn't fit in the frame quite right. Monokuma over there can testify to that.
Yup, true as true can be. But you know, you're supposed to be the ultimate lucky student, right? But to have such a cruddy door, that's not lucky at all.
So the reason the door didn't open was just because it was stuck. But the killer didn't know that and assumed it was locked. So they tore apart the doorknob to get in.
Okay, but then why would the killer even think the door was locked in the first place? Everyone should have known you can't lock any of the boys' bathrooms.
All the rooms swapped.
The killer could easily make that mistake, thanks to one important detail about the scene of the crime.
The killer was convinced the bathroom was locked, so he didn't know that the door actually couldn't be locked. In other words, the important detail about the scene of the crime that they didn't know about was the time took place in my room.
The killer must not have realized that it was my room.
What? Are you saying the culprit didn't even know where he was? That's inconceivable!
And yet, he's absolutely right.
Say what?
Well, to be more specific, what the killer didn't know was that Makoto and Sayaka had switched rooms, which is what led to the misunderstanding about the bathroom. If Sayaka had been in her own room, then
there would have been a lock on the door, and they would have had to break through.
So they had no idea how unnecessary their actions were.
Ultimately, we can't know if it came open by force or simply by accident. But the killer must have been considerably confused, with no idea how they actually got the door opened.
Regardless, it was a pointless act. Wasting time trying to break down a door that wasn't locked is
Definitely something I wouldn't do, since I would have known exactly why it wasn't opening, right?
That is a definite possibility.
Stop throwing me on the coals! Breaking me across the coals, Byakuya!
So the killer would have to be someone who didn't know they'd switched rooms?
Then Makoto couldn't have done it.
You're still assuming I did. You still think it. So I've been trying to tell you, you crazy hoe!
Okay, then who did do it?
I'm sorry, but I give up. Quit without saving.
But what happens if we can't decide on who we think did it?
Well, why don't we just vote right now? Majority rules.
Majority rules? You really think that's a good idea?
What's wrong, Leon? Afraid people are going to choose you? Afraid they're going to cover your evil?
Yeah, our necks are on the line here. Someone seriously needs to do something. For serious.
Does no one have any other thoughts or questions? It does not matter how trivial they may seem.
Oh, as a matter of fact, I do have one question.
Oh, you
don't gotta sound so disappointed.
So, yeah, you tell her, Hina.
It's fine, it's fine. Just ask your question.
Oh yeah. Okay, so, well, I was just wondering, how did the culprit get into Makoto's room in the first place?
Yes. How did the killer get inside?
Maybe Sayaka just dropped the key somewhere and the culprit picked it up. That's possible, right?
I don't think so. That seems way too convenient.
Then, maybe someone picked the lock?
Negative! If you remember, Monokuma made it quite clear that the locks are all unpickable.
Fine. How about this? The killer got in the easy way. They could have knocked and said they wanted to talk or something, and Miss Maizono just let him in.
No, that can't be it either.
Oh, trying to argue against me? Sounds like someone doesn't know his place.
Just like you don't know that your place is in your mother's basement.
Hello? Why exactly can't that be it?
Because she asked me to do something in particular, because of how friend she was. That's the answer right there. There's no way Sayaka was coming in because... Room switch, switching rooms.
I got it! Because Sayaka was already scared, remember? That's why she asked me to switch rooms in the first place.
The same goes for you, Sayaka. No matter who it is, don't open your door for anyone. Even if it's you, even if I'm sure it's you, I absolutely won't open it. Otherwise, what's the point of even switching?
Knowing what she'd been through, I just can't believe she would have opened the door for anyone.
What if her being scared was a lie?
Huh?
That's always a point.
Well, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Why would she lie about something like that?
I know you don't want to consider it, but look at this and tell me. Can you still deny the possibility?
There's something I wanted to talk to you about, just the two of us. In 5 minutes, come see me in my room. Check the nameplate to make sure you don't get the wrong room, okay?
I found a notepad during my search, and I shaded in the top sheet with a pencil, and these are the words that appeared.
Oh man! I've totally seen people do that on detective shows. When you write, it can leave an imprint. Sketch over the next sheet of paper, and you can see the words. When I saw that, I was like, holy crap! I better make sure I rip the paper out before I use it from now on.
Okay, Hina, you're not helping your case.
It's a pretty old-fashioned technique, but even the classics can be surprisingly useful sometimes. Oh, and I should also mention, I found the notepad on the desk in Makoto's room.
Huh?
Which means only someone who had been in Makoto's room before the incident could have written it.
Then either it was Makoto who lived there, or Sayaka who switched rooms for a single night.
It's obviously Sayaka since she wrote her
So,
signature below.
Makoto, did you write this?
No, I didn't. But
Of course you didn't, because the note also bears a perfectly legible signature. Sayaka's
Yes, I saw that too. Then that note, Sayaka wrote it?
But why? Why would she write that?
Oh my gosh, the ambush theory, it's coming across, and okay, now I'm 100%, now I 100% understand why my friends hate Sayaka. That hoe was trying to betray us. She was trying to betray Makoto.
The note was likely her way of getting in touch with a certain someone.
Her damn swan story. That's
She
all a
must have slid
lie.
it under their door
The
to let them
crane.
know she wanted to meet with them in secret.
If you got an invitation like that from the ultimate pop sensation, what young man could resist?
Apparently you, because of your 2D fetish.
Of course, I'm only into 2D, so it wouldn't have any effect on me.
Oh my gosh. Himafumi, you scare me more and more. Yeah, I'm learning his name now. It's slow.
But can we
it's
be sure anyone even got this note? And honestly, even if they did, I do not think they are at all involved in what happened.
Huh? What makes you say that?
Would you like to hear what I have to say? Very well then. Pay attention.
Okay, another section. Make your argument. Give me my boys. Dorm name, please.
Sayaka and Makoto switched rooms, correct? But in the note, the place they were asked to come to, it specifically says, my room.
Boom. What? Okay, that was it.
Sayaka and Makoto switched rooms, correct? But in the note, the place they were asked to come to, it specifically says, my room.
I see. So if someone read that note, then they would have gone to Sayaka's room.
Exactly. The room that Makoto...
Okay.
No, that's wrong.
Freaking. This one that was the first one. It's in my room because that's obviously very vague.
The nameplates on my and Sayaka's rooms got switched.
Yes, exactly.
Switched?
That's right. The nameplates got switched, just like the rooms themselves. As a result, the nameplate on Sayaka's room actually had Makoto's name. And the nameplate on Makoto's room had Sayaka's.
So what you're saying is, the room Sayaka was staying in was actually marked as her room.
Then, if someone did do what the note said, they would end up at Makoto's room where Sayaka was.
Plus, their rooms are right next to each other, so switching the nameplates would be no problem. And the one who switched the names was... Well, of course it wasn't you, right, Makoto?
Right?
Okay, then who did it?
There's only one person who could have switched the nameplates. The only other person who knew we had switched rooms. Sayaka.
I got it! Me and Sayaka were the only ones who ever knew about
No,
us
but they
switching
actually
rooms.
heal you up a little. That's actually
So
nice.
the only other person besides me who would even know to switch the nameplates was Sayaka.
You can
She
also
really was on
infer
the
as much
offense.
from her note.
That could explain why her hands were off. Plus that whole hand washing theory. That would make no sense unless someone came morning and washed her hands, but then the sink would be moist. You can also infer. Yes. There's something I want to talk to you about, please. Just us two. In 5 minutes. Come see me in my room. Check the nameplates to make sure you don't get the wrong room,
She
okay?
specifically tells the reader to check the nameplate. She would only have written that if she knew the nameplates had been switched.
But why would she switch them in the first place?
She wanted someone to come to the room she was in, and also hide the fact that it was Makoto's room.
What?
Inviting someone to your room, but not telling them you'd switched rooms. Why would anyone do that?
Because she was trying to set us up for the murder, just like how you all believe that Makoto did it.
To understand that, we first need to understand what happened after she invited the person into the room. That's where the answer lies.
What happened then was probably whoever she invited over came in and attacked her. We figured it out! We know who did it! Whoever she invited over is the culprit!
But we still don't know who it is, you goddamn idiot!
Sayaka fought with her killer there in the room, yes? Perhaps the answer to our previous question lies in that initial struggle.
Yes, I think you're right.
Then... we just have to figure out what happened during the fight, right?
That reminds me. There was a replica sword at the murder scene. Was that perhaps used during the fight?
Oh yeah. What's the deal with that sword?
Sayaka suggested I should hold on to it. I thought it might come in handy if I had to defend myself. It seems pretty likely that the killer used it to break Sayaka's right wrist.
How the hell could you possibly know that's what broke her wrist?
Big old dust. Where's her wrist? Where's her wrist? Come on, her wrist. Oh, there it is. Sayaka's wrist.
I got it! All you
Got
have to
healed.
do is take a good look at her broken wrist, and it should become pretty clear. Right there where her wrist is all swollen. There's something glittery there.
Is that gold?
It sure is. Specifically, the gold coating from the replica sword. You barely have to touch that stuff, and it'll stick right to you. And there's some on her wrist because...
I got it! Because she got hit with the sword! Right there on her wrist!
I see. And so the truth draws ever closer.
Alright, then it's about time to solve this mystery.
Right in my room. And what led to Sayaka's death? That's what we need to make clear. There's a bit more to learn about nonsense debates. Oh, absolutely! Are you getting used to these nonsense debates? Starting with the next debate, I'll start loading multiple truth bullets into the truth cylinder. But just like with the weak spots, only one of these bullets can actually refute the proper statement. In other words, from here on out, you have to combine the right truth bullets with the right weak spots to refute each statement. If you come up with the wrong combination, you'll take damage to your influence gauge. You can press the LB button to rotate the cylinder and choose press and release the left button to cycle L button to cycle through each bullet. Or you can hold down the L button and then use the left stick to select the specific bullet. By the way, if the logic difficulty is set to kind, fewer bullets will be loaded into the cylinder. For our purposes this time, logic difficulty will be set to mean. Well then, good luck and have fun. What? I want to be on the hardest difficulty. Make your argument. Okay, it's probably going to be the sheep.
When the fighting broke out,
Okay, let's see the
the
sheep.
culprit grabbed the sword,
Okay.
and that's when the first blow was dealt. The sword-based sneak attack!
Okay.
No, that's wrong.
Boom! Wow, I want to roll with this.
Actually, no. I don't think the fight started with the sword.
Why not?
Because the sword's sheath had been scratched.
Yes, exactly. The sheath was used as defense.
See? There's a gash in it. Like someone cut into it with something sharp.
Something sharp? You mean like the kitchen knife? That was the only sharp thing found at the scene.
Stop jumping ahead! Slow down and explain it so I get what the hell's going on.
Yes, we'll use small words for you.
If the sword was used first, there wouldn't be any explanation for the scratch on the sheath. If you were going to attack with the sword, you'd take it out of the sheath first, right?
And with that question, I just have to check to see if we can save the game. Okay, good, we can save. In which case, I think now would be a good time to end the episode off with that question. So, with that, I really appreciate that you stick around to watch this episode. You're a great viewer, and I hope you come back for the next one. If you like the video, like, subscribe, share, comment, do whatever it is that you want. And with that, I will see you later. Bye.